We want to talk about sharing, we want to share the love, we want to talk about ads. So, in terms of ads, what do brands have to do to create the massive splash for Brazil?
I think they need to think about Brazil being different to UK and US. So we found in our research the two key triggers for sharing are humour. The first key trigger is humour, whereas for Brazil, they tend to share exhilarating content more. So brands that understand that Brazilians go for exhilaration before they go for humour will be on the right thing, and that's a great year for that, isn't it, with football? So you think with football, you can bring together content that's going to be naturally exhilarating and sports stars, I think, which will really bring that to life. So I think what they tend to think about is get the sports star first and then think about the content. And actually that's the wrong way around, because sports stars in their own right won't create great sharing content. What creates a great content is get the idea right and then bring the sports person in to actually bring some of that to life. Get those bits right and you really get that kind of turbo effect on sharing.
So, what kind of emotion should the advertisers direct to the audience of the Brazilian World Cup?
Well, exhilaration is key. Brazilians are also real super sharers. They absolutely love sharing content. So I think brands tend to think that things like viral cascades will only happen around the Super Bowl because that's where lots of sharing happens. We don't think that's the case. Well, I think one of the interesting things about Brazilians, is they're super sharers, and obviously it's a massive audience, so there's an opportunity to really do something exciting. So generate a great piece of content, give someone a reason to share it on, and then think about the bits that are going to be amplifiers in that content. Getting the celebrity right, getting the music right, and you can see something really exciting happening this year.
Last year we had nostalgic content. What would be the content of 2014?
We're still seeing a bit of a hangover from last year. So Frankfurt's were really big last year. We've seen some of those again. You've seen the baby in New York in the pram. Those sorts of things I think still going to happen. I think we could still see some really good pranks. I think this is one of the things we've been seeing is this Trackverts piece, which is sort of coming through, where brands are beginning to understand that music videos are the most shared content of any kind. So I think there can be some quite interesting hybrids between, celebrity, music, pranks all together, and you'll see something really quite special.
Will the biggest ads in the year 2014 come from a sporting event?
Definitely. I think do you know about the power law? So they've been talking. So the power law is a thing where it predicts a particular event. So it's used to sort of things like predicting an earthquake or something like that. And there's been a prediction around social video that there's going to be. So Gangnam Style was the first piece of content that hit 1 billion views. There's a 1 in 5 chance that this year there will be a piece of branded content that will hit 1 billion views. And I think that's what we're going to see with the World Cup.
We can have the Super Bowl as well. Is that maybe like a competitor that might ruin?
I think so, because they talk about, loosely they've said that Christmas is the UK Super Bowl moment, and let's face it, it isn't. The numbers are nowhere near as big because the population isn't as big, and I just don't think there's that opportunity to drive such a big viral cascade. I think with Brazil there really is, because there's, obviously the Brazilian nation, massive super sharers. There's so much excitement that builds up around this, and just the nature of the sport and the nature of the content produced, I think there's a real big opportunity here.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.